just created this character out of the blue, and let me just start creating poses here. So here's that character, and I'm going to come up with, character's going to come, he's going to end up over here. And it's just basically a simple rectangle. So what I'm doing is I'm creating what is known as my main keys, or you can call them extremes. And I refer back constantly back to this character, his size, proportions. What I'm thinking as I'm doing this, I'm coming up with these key drawings, or you can call them extremes, just the storytelling drawings. Comes up there, there, over there. And here's the question. So a lot of times people ask me, well, how do you create the next set of drawings? So right here, he goes from there over to here. And how does he get over there? Well, my first thought is he's just got to move over there. And I put in another piece of paper or another blank piece of paper, and he's going to be somewhere in here as he comes over. And I keep this foot registered right there. And I'm thinking now the head's going to be tilting down. Very simple character I made here. You can see just this simple rectangle shape is really what he's made up of. But the head tilt is going to be down a little bit. We're going to see the top of his head. And I'll close his eyes. Constantly flipping back and forth. Check my volumes. Sorry, I'm not going to worry about making a clean drawing. That hand down there. There's his ear. I'll worry about the hair a little bit later, just trying to get those big shapes in there. So here he's going to the, not anticipation, just the down drawing of the step that he's going to be taking. Make sure to keep your feet registered. There we go, that feels a little better. And now I'm going to create another pose that's going to express how he gets over to this drawing there. So let me go from here to there. And usually you do your thumbnails. I didn't on this one. I'm doing this really off the cuff. He's going to be walking back a little bit. So this is where I want that foot to contact, right there. And I can, right now, this is the important part. Keep that foot registered right there as he's turning. Feeling that arm back there. Bring that hand, break the wrist right there. Here, here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this last pose, and I am going to move him down slightly. About there, that feels good. Go back. Because I didn't like the placement of where this foot is. And this is where you can make the changes, you guys. This is where you can do it. Nothing is locked in. And that little change, it was a small change, but it's fine. It's all right. We're going to be a little bit more casual. So what I did was, in the gesture of the arm, I put a little bit of bend into it. And see this hand and arm, a little bend, and it makes them a little bit more casual, not so stiff looking. Okay. Boom, boom. And then he's going to come over to this last one. And this is going to be the down position. as he comes over, and I think I'll change the line of action on this one. Instead of it being consistently, which I could do, you can see here the line of action of his body is up like so, line of action is up like so, but just to give it some variety, I'm going to have the line of action go the opposite way of changing the shapes. And I know this is a down, but I do want to make sure I keep him balanced where he doesn't look like he's going to tip over. When we walk, we do have a little momentum moving forward, meaning the tilt. If it's an extreme walk, the body is tilting like so. If it's a subtle walk and you want to do a stylistic walk, you can have it vertically, or you could have it just slightly, meaning the body, the torso. But on this one, I'm going to just have him where he goes up there, comes down there. This leg is coming through. We'll call him Barney, our character Barney. Well, he's a Barney. And we're following through with this arc of the foot. And I'm changing the angle of the head slightly. Bit of 3/4. And notice that I'm putting in the major shapes like I always talk about. I hope that makes sense. And remember, when the opposite leg is going forward, that means the opposite arm, meaning his left arm, is going to start to come through that direction coming forward. And maybe we'll just show a little bit of this hand. I'm not sure. I'll find out as I continue going. It's all a matter of feeling it out and understanding where you're going to go. With your thumbnails, usually. Thumbnails are important. But I didn't do it on this. Sure. Let's see. Coming through there. And he's going to end up here. So let me come back here, put in another drawing. And I'm going to have this is, now these are all the keys and, I would say, and breakdowns. Just more drawings. Just think of it as more drawings to describe the action. That's the best way I know how to simplify it for you guys who are just starting to learn. It's just more drawings. And where you place the drawings, the shapes, different elements of your character, that's the part that you got to do the search on, as I'm doing here. I'm searching to find where it will be. I know he's coming up rhythmically, comes through back there, and then he's just going to land right there. And this is going to be the contact drawing as he comes through here. And he's coming into where he folds his arms over. So I got to be aware of that. How do I work into that? I'm going to come up like so. Feel that arm coming up. And on this one, I'm going to bring the hand up here. So it's going to be sort of an anticipation of the arms coming up and then coming down when he comes down. And I can put gestures for the fingers. I'm going to push that tilt of the head. Here's our angle, eye line. Maybe I'm going to foreshorten this hand and arm right there. Let's see, other side come up about there. We'll see just a little bit of it, of the hand. Okay. And how much time I put into these drawings, it just, if I'm really familiar, you guys, if I'm really familiar with the character, I can just draw them better. It's just a matter of being familiar. So I'm not really familiar with this character, but I do like just coming up with different designs. I get bored really easily, so I like to challenge myself just to come up with something, see what I can do. But if you get familiar with your characters, it makes it much easier to create the different poses that you're going to be animating. That's just a tidbit there. Okay. All right. I'm going to come back in a very gestural way. I'm going to fix those volumes a little bit. Move this back. The only way I can tell is by flipping my drawings. Only way. Put a little squash there. Stretch there. And it comes down into that pose. And I can't find anything to change right now, but like I did before when I selected this pose and moved them, I can do that constantly. I'm not stuck with my first drawings. That's what this whole process is about, is making it better and better, as I'm trying to do here. So there we got what I would call my first set of keys coming in there. Now I'm going to come in and put in another set as I go through. So let's go back to our first drawing there. And I'm not, on this one, I'm not going to sit there and worry about the charts and everything, because I still got the drawings, the breakdowns that I got to do to describe the action. So what I'm going to do after this one is the principle of anticipation. So I'm going to create an antic for him to go from here to there. Now, how I do it, this is where I do usually in my thumbnails figured out. But on this one, I'll just do a standard one. I'll try to come up with something a little creative. I'm going to have him bend his knees a little bit. Everything drops down. It comes out this way. Bends that knee. I'm going to make that more foreshortened. Maybe I want to go this way. No, I'm going to just bend it. It's a little foreshortened, like so. Make him a little knock-kneed, maybe. Yeah, we got to keep looking. There we go. That feels pretty good. Now I'm not going to push it too far. Maybe he starts to close his eyes here. He's turning just slightly around that way. Hair. Notice how in the hair I change the direction of it, also known as changing the shape. That's what gives hand-drawn all animation. That's what gives it, really that feeling of life. You want to look for those changes shapes. Okay, arms are just starting to come off. I'm going to drag that hand. Shoulder rhythmically coming over there. It's a little bit of twinning, so I want to break that up a little bit. So I'm going to bring this hand down here. What I mean by twinning is I don't want it to be symmetrical. I want it to be asymmetrical. So I broke it off by putting that hand down there. And see, I've broken up the symmetry of his legs right there. Comes down. And this is where I'm going to add in another breakdown. A little bit of an up as he turns. Coming this way, up. He'll be pushing off this leg. And now coming up, but I'm going to drag it back a little bit. Maybe too much there. And you guys, there are points where I will, it just doesn't happen all the time. I gotta feel it out. I gotta search. Maybe I want to have a stretch there. And this is where, after I put that drawing in, this is where I'm going to make another change. Down. And this is going to be my up right here to work from that drawing into this contact. A little more whip into this arm. Crossing over there. There we go. That feels a little more. I keep searching and changing. Bend that knee. Anticipation comes up. Down. Down. Big up right there for this walk. Up. A couple of gestures and fingers. Up, up. And on this one, change of shape. And here's another area for a breakdown. With hits. Following that arc right there. Down further, arc of the butt. Right there, I find it. Okay, this arm right there is coming through. I'm going to break the joint in that arm just to show you what you can get away with. So it's swinging through like so. Hand coming down there. And watch, if I just put in this big shape like so, that's the first thing I'll put down, and then I'll put in the other features. Nose. Close the eye on this one. And this is my shorthand. It's just a quick shorthand. I'm not thinking about drawing per se. I'm thinking about acting, arcs, all those main principles in this gestural way of drawing. My shorthand, so I can understand it. Let me bring that foot up a little bit higher. And then he comes down into, we can see him coming down in there. And then we're going to do another transitional drawing from that to this one. Comes down. And not everything is moving. All the elements, they have their own. I'm just feeling it as it's coming, as he's coming through. And they have their own arcs. Not everything is moving. I want to get this at the same pace. You can favor different elements. You can put them directly in the middle, meaning the limbs, the hair, the all sorts of everything. You can create your own sense of timing for those different elements. So on this, like this leg right here, I'm just going to make it pretty much a direct in between right there. But on this hand right there, I'm going to drag it. So I'm going to favor it down back to this drawing. And the hand is being, now I'm going very, just for the demonstration, just showing you what you can get away with as far as the change of shape, drag and follow through. This hand I'll put, because I'm feeling the momentum, I'm going to favor it up here more, closer to this one. And it's following this arc as he's coming around. And then I got to make this transition of that foot coming across. No, I don't like that. The reason why is because I want to put that leg more directly in the middle. I'll keep that same arc, but the foot is changing shape. Let me see something there. I'll come back here. I'm going to drag that foot back a little bit. It's coming up over. Okay, we're getting there. And this is without the in-betweens, everybody. I want you to know that. This is without in-betweens. This is just, you can call them extremes. I thought my first pass of keys, second pass of keys with breakdowns. And I want to make this transition a little more clear. So he's coming up there, and I'm going to keep him favoring up with this drawing. I'm going to keep him up there, timing wise. I'm going to keep him up there. The reason why is I want to get the anticipation of the arms to be more expressive before he comes down into that pose. So maybe I'll even have the head tilting up more. Maybe. Remember, I put in that word maybe because I'm not sure, especially if I haven't done the thumbnails. But I'm feeling like I'll just keep that up there. Everything's going up. And I'm feeling, right now, I'm feeling in my body his arms coming up. There's his hand. I'm going to have him on right there. When I go to tie this down, I know that he's going to be up on his tiptoes right there to give that feeling of stretch into that foot. So I'll slow down and make sure, and sometimes I'll even write a note, right, and I'll do it quickly. So I'll just write note, foot. I'll just put that down quickly because we're in the middle. We're as you're animating, you should be tired by the end of working on any part of your animation because it's a lot of focus. So I'll write quick notes to remind myself of what the changes when I go back in to tie it down. And I'm going to bring that sorry. I'm going to bring up this hand to make it very clear about the anticipation before he comes down into that pose. And this foot will be down now. That is one thing I do want to mention. For the most part, when a foot makes contact on the ground there, most of the times, the next frame, the foot will be down. There won't be an in-between there. It will just be there, contact, this one, and then down on that one. That's most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time. And then I'll come in here, and I'm going to put in a overshoot drawing, one that goes past this drawing. There's up, down. I think I'll keep it in a different perspective. I'm going to foreshorten that. Change his shape as he comes down. I'm going to have the arms already crossed at that point. Now I'm getting a little bit more familiar with him. Top of the head. Nose is down there. We're looking down on him here. What I have done here is I've created, for instance, I'm going to move this over there. I don't like the way that drawing looks. Move everything swinging over that way. So when he comes down here, it will look more in drawing. And he is at an angle right there, so we will see that foreshortening, but bring that leg out. I'm going to drag that foot a bit. Come back in. And I will just keep working this. So here we got our main poses. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to do a quick pose test. And we're just going to take a look at this as a rough pass of our first one. Let's see. Okay, so here I got a feeling for it. The way too long on this down right there. That's all right. That's the beauty of digital. Hold that for 4. I'm going to come back in here, and I'm going to put in one more breakdown just to smooth that out a bit. And watch, I'm going to just put in pure shape. I'm going to drag these arms. Watch what you can get away with. Drag that head a little bit where it's still bending down. Watch what you can get away with just scribbled drawings. I'm going to add another one after that. Favorite up here. And these lines, right there's the arms. And he's going to settle in to that last pose. Put in a quick gesture of the eyes opening. Mouth coming up there, ear. And watch what happens when I believe I can get away with this. See, right there. So there I just did a quick little test right there.